Um, but these are the bongos coming up on the left. They are crimson antelopes. I'm not sure if they're anywhere but right over here. So they're to the left. There they are. Some people call the bongo the ghost of the forest thanks to their backward-facing horns. They help them move through the underbrush really quietly. That's saying something, considering the bongo is actually one of the largest forest-dwelling antelopes out of Africa. On the right side is an okapi, also, oddly enough, nicknamed the ghost of the forest, except theirs is more for the reason that they are solitary animals. They tend to hide out in the forest, and they are very hard to find. They're only found in either the Little Ituri Forest or the Ituri Forest. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about them after I tell you about the tan antelopes. Also on the left side, the greater kudu, the largest of the kudu species. They get up to 55 inches tall at the shoulder. The ones I can see over there are females. I know that because they don't have horns. Males grow horns as long as 6 feet. Now, the okapi. Those striped legs make people think they're related to zebras, but they're actually closer related to giraffes, one of the only known relatives. We can see the relation between them, and that both the okapi and the giraffe have a prehensile tongue, meaning they can move their tongues like we can move our fingers, and male okapis have something on their heads called ossicones, and those are the fuzzy nubs on top of every giraffe's head. And we see giraffes later, I'll try to point them out to you, because that was a female okapi, no ossicones. Might notice at the top of the hill on the right side, a very large black and white bird. That's a saddle-billed stork, one of the largest storks out there. They get up to 5 feet tall. They also have a wingspan that can get up to 9 feet wide. That's almost as wide as the canopy above your head. Well, to keep an eye out, you might have been able to see another bird possibly up there or just walking around. They tend to be solitary unless they mate, and if they do mate, they're going to mate for life. And I know that that bird does have a mate walking around in the Little Ituri Forest somewhere. And if you were able to see that bird's eyes, it'll tell you their gender. Yellow eyes are females, dark brown eyes are males. Very impressive. Let's see here. We're going to make our way towards the watering hole for the Little Ituri Forest, known as the Safi River. So that means we're going to get the chance to see an abundance of life up ahead, as it is the watering hole. Also, we're probably going to get the chance to see an abundance of aquatic life up ahead as well. So my recommendation when moving down the Safi River is to just look beneath the surface, look for ripples, bubbles, moving shapes. Also, make sure to check out the banks on really nice days like today. A lot of those animals stay in the water all day to keep cool, but it's already nice and cool out, so they might as well come out onto the banks and enjoy some of that morning air. Make sure to look anywhere and everywhere, not just at the Safi River either, including that savanna that we're going to be heading to in a little bit. Now we can see some show stealers up ahead, but first I must point out the beautiful pink-backed pelicans out the right side. They're all on that middle island there, and they're some of the largest flighted birds out there, though they are some of the smallest of the pelicans. Named for their backstring an interesting shade of pink during their nesting season, they're colonial birds, so they love to group up. Now onto the show stealers on the right side. Correct, these are Nile hippos on the right side. Now that is a very rare sight to see hippos sleeping on the bank like that. Really, outside this reserve, they only come out onto the banks at nighttime, and that's just to graze the grasses because they are herbivores. Now let's see here. But here at the reserve, they know it's super safe, and it's already a nice cool day, so they'll come out onto the bank and enjoy the air. Now, if you do want to see them in the water, it might surprise you to learn that now that you've gotten a good view of them, they actually don't have much body fat on them, so they aren't very buoyant. So whenever they get in the water, they tend to sink to the bottom, then they'll walk or run wherever they want to go. So in deeper waters, they kind of just look like moving dark blobs. And that might have something to do with the name hippopotamus translating to river horse. They're galloping on the bottom of the river to get to where they want to go. This is a view for my friends on the left side. You can see the whole float on the banks over here. Whoa! Now a word for a group is a float. That's not just me making fun of them. Including that little one over there. Now make sure to keep looking left. As you go over this bridge, you'll see some Nile crocodiles hanging out on the bank back there. Also a couple a little bit closer there. Now the Nile crocodile gets up to 16 feet long. That's almost half the length of this truck. They also have one of the strongest white horses in the animal kingdom with capabilities of crushing the bones of their prey. That being said, they can be exceptionally gentle whenever they want. They roll their legs around in their mouth to help them with the magic process. Many of them are having trouble coming out of their shells. Now, we're going to be exiting the Safi River region and the Little Ituri Forest as a whole. Make our way towards an overlook of the savanna. Now, as we exit those spaces, it's important to note that spaces like the Little Ituri Forest and the Safi River are threatened. Water pollution and deforestation cause a lot of habitat loss for a lot of those amazing animals. So my recommendation is to clean up litter in your area wherever you can, and also find some sustainable products like stuff that's biodegradable or made out of bamboo. The fastest growing plant in the world. Probably a better choice to buy anything made of that than probably anything else. Now, the first big change in landscape is coming up on the right side. That's a baobab tree right over there. Also nicknamed the upside down tree because it kind of looks like it's got its roots sticking up in the air, but of course it does not. just remains leafless 9 months out of the year, helping it retain water. So then during the dry months, animals can go to the baobab, strip the bark off, and access the water inside, also giving it the nickname, the Tree of Life. Now, I can already see some Hartman's mountain zebras a little bit further out there on the savannah, and some springbok closer, and wildebeest too, but I'll remind you that animal spotting guide above you. Make sure to look further than you think the savannah goes. At some points, you might see something out there that nobody else does. Also important to note that savanna ecosystems like this are beautiful yet fragile environments. So the Harambe Wildlife Reserve is not the only reserve in Africa. You feel motivated to donate. Every donation does make a huge difference in the protection of those animals. Now on the right side, quite a lot to see. The Hartman's mountain zebras, there's wildebeest further back there, and a springbok closer to us. Now the springbok's that tan, black, and white antelope. I'll tell you about them because they're kind of small. The springbok is named for its ability to spring 6 feet in the air and 13 feet forward, which is also known as prompting. Also means the springbok could jump straight through this truck if they wanted to. Not to mention the fastest land animal, the cheetah, can run 60 miles per hour. The springbok can run 55. That's one fast antelope. Now something to know about the wildebeest, which we also drove past, is they are some underrated animals. They group up into herds as big as 1.5 million, making them the animals in the most densely packed herds, just behind humans. Also during the wildebeest's migratory season, they can move between 500 to 1,000 miles. Hopefully we'll get another view of the beautiful Hartman's mountain zebras a little bit further out there. I do see some of those beautiful Ankole cattle also coming up. That'll be on the left side as we get around this corner, but they're currently crossing in front of that other truck, so we'll hang out here for just a second. They do have right of way, as it is their house. Here they come. A really good view of one on the left side here. Now the Ankole cattle is also known as the Watusi, and their beautiful horns get up to 3 to 4 feet long each. And they might look heavy, but they're actually exceptionally light. The interior of their horns is made of a honeycomb-like structure, helping them regulate their body temperature. They can pump blood to them to cool their bodies down, and they serve as a phenomenal defense mechanism if any animals decide they're going to try and mess with the Ankole cattle. They can talk to the horns. Great view here on the left. Also might have noticed further back there, speaking of talking to the horns, the sable antelope laying down way further back there. Now, they are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Their backward-facing horns deter predators who try to jump on their back, and they do need those because the sable antelope is actually one of the only antelopes that will stand their ground and fight when faced with a predator. They're extremely brave and a symbol of courage. That's the reason they're the emblem for the reserve. Out the right side, a Maasai giraffe enjoying some food. You can see those ossicones on top of their head. Those fuzzy nose there. They're on top of every single giraffe's head, only on top of male okapi heads, and they're technically cartilaginous. So that means they're made of the same stuff that make up our nose and our ears. Also get the chance to see their prehensile tongue that moves like we can move our fingers. Might notice the bluish purplish color to it. The coloration is actually a form of sunscreen. Helps keep their tongue from getting sunburned while they use it all day long, much like how we use our hands. There's those Hartman's mountain zebra again on the right side, along with another view of that adorable springbok. Now, as the name suggests, Hartman's mountain zebra hang out in mountainous environments. So, something unique to them is the front of their bones are kind of pointed, allows them to climb the mountains that they live in. Also, something unique to this, a little bit more visibly unique to the Hartman's mountain zebra, is the flap of skin they have hanging down from their neck called a dewlap. That helps them regulate their body temperature. They can pump blood to it to cool their bodies down. And they're the only zebra species with that handy dandy dewlap. Also, every zebra stripes are completely unique to themselves. Same goes for giraffes and their spots, completely unique patterns. Speaking of giraffe, there was a Maasai giraffe at the top of the hill on the left side back there. There's another one coming up on the right. Looks like the wildebeest are migrating right in front of the springbok over there. But at the top of the hill, right side, you'll see a tan antelope up there. It's a little hard to get a good idea of it, but that's actually one of the largest antelopes in the world, way up there. That's an eland. Now, elands get up to 6 feet tall at the shoulder. It's way taller than your safari driver will ever be, and they can jump 6 to 8 feet in the air from a standing position. I'm going to be honest, it was not long ago that I saw a video of an eland online, and every comment said, why have I never seen this animal? Why have I never heard of this animal? Because usually we're looking at the giraffe. You got to appreciate the eland over there, too. That is a large antelope, 6 feet tall. I'll say it one more time, just to make it make sense. That's way taller than your safari driver will ever be. Now, a group of giraffe is referred to as a tower. That's fitting because they are towering over the savannah as the tallest land animals. They get up to 20 feet tall. And because the giraffe gets up to 20 feet tall, that does mean they fall 6 feet when they're born, but that's okay because they're born 6 feet tall. So you take what you can get. Also, when they're fully grown, they can run 30 miles per hour. Long legs will carry you fast and far. There's one more giraffe kind of at the very edge, that very last tree there. But we're going to start making our way towards some downed trees in this area assigned to bulldozers of the savannah that pass through this area, also known as African elephants. So we'll keep an eye out, see if there might be any over here. Either way, we're going to check 2 spots for these beautiful elephants. Look to the right. Now we'll have to keep an eye out, see if there's some other elephants in this area. If there are, I would be or if there are not any other elephants in this area, I'd be led to believe it could be a male right here. Male African elephants often grow up and have their familial herds, then they'll move on to live either solitary lives, or they might form bachelor groups with other males. We'll keep an eye out, see if there's some other elephants in this area that would prove that might not be a male, or it could just be a bachelor herd. Either way, there is something kind of interesting to know about any forest elephants that are not protected by this reserve and a lot of other forest animals throughout Africa. So in Africa, in a lot of those forested environments, there's a mineral called coltan that's found extremely rich there. Let's see. It looks like that might have been the only elephant, so it's probably a male. All right, we'll keep moving ahead, see if we can spot some more of the beautiful elephants. But coltan is a mineral that's found in these forested environments throughout Africa, and they do a lot of mining for this coltan. And that mining has a really bad impact on any of those forest animals' livelihoods, including a lot of elephants. Now, I'm not just telling you this to make you a little sad. I'm actually telling you this because coltan is found inside of our electronics. Our cell phones and our laptops are extremely rich of coltan, and that's why they're mining it in the first place. I have some good news. You can actually recycle any unused or old electronics, no matter how broken they are. They tend to still have that coltan inside of there. You can take them to any big office supply store. They can probably recycle it for you. I recommend looking it up in your area, seeing where you can do that and how it will work out for you. But it really does make a huge difference in that mining. Cuts down on it a lot. Not to mention, you can feel pretty good about yourself after you recycle those electronics. Clean out a drawer in your house, because I know for me, I used to have a drawer full of old cell phones that I could not get rid of because they were cell phones. Now I can feel really good about myself and know that I helped the environment in recycling them. But speaking of elephants, on the right side, just marks in the wall of red clay, a sign there's elephants in the area. To the left, elephants in the area. I'm seeing some movement here. What's this elephant closest to us? Let's see here. Okay. Now there's a chance this could be a familial herd in this area. Now, if you know anything about familial herds of elephants, that tends to mean there are young ones with them. Look under their legs. You might start to see a tiny, tiny elephant. Yeah, right here, I think. Maybe? No, I can't. Is it right there? Yeah, under that elephant, right? Yeah, we'll go around the corner. Definitely go around the corner. Oh, make sure everybody's sitting down, my friends. We're going to go over some bumpies. Everybody seated, please. Please have your kiddos sit down on your lap. Thank you so much. Make sure everybody's super safe. Want to have a great day. Oh, there's a giraffe over here, too. Oh, there's quite a few giraffe over here. Okay, keep looking left. You'll see that. There they are, under the mama's legs. That's adorable. Now, it's something kind of cool to know, seeing mama and baby elephant. Elephants do a lot more talking than we think they do. They communicate through something called infrasonic communication. And that's a deep rumbling sound that we usually can't hear unless they decide to pitch it up. Then we can hear that really recognizable elephant trumpet sound. But they also use their really advanced infrasonic hearing to find and track the rain. Now, looking at that tiny itty-bitty elephant, fun fact about that little elephant is the other day she was having trouble picking up a stick with her trunk. She's still trying to figure out her trunk. But something kind of cool to know about that really cool trunk is they have over 40,000 muscles in them. So that means if we were to combine all 36 people on this trunk's muscles, we would still have less muscles than one elephant's trunk. Very impressive. But that's a fully grown elephant at that. That baby's still got some work to do on that muscle building, but we can see very clearly at the left side the beautiful, the amazing, the greater flamingo, the largest of the flamingo species. Their pink coloration comes from the brine from the Nother beta carotene. Now, it can take up to 2 years for them to reach that full pink coloration, and a group of them can be called a flamboyance. Let's see here. We're going to make our way into the eastern side of the savannah, see if there's anything to see just on the other side of these red clay rocks here. Oh, I do see something moving across the street up here. Looks like there's some white rhinos making their way out of here. There's a chance we might get to see these white rhinos again a little bit further into this part of the savannah if they're going to be moving in that direction. Ooh. Unless they've decided to stop with their little feetsies in the road here. There they go. Alright, so that's the white rhino coming up on the right side. The larger species of rhino out of Africa, they get up to 5,000 pounds. Also a female ostrich further back there. The reason I know that's a female at the end of that road is because she has gray feathers. Males have black feathers. We'll keep an eye out, because the white rhino, while also being 5,000 pounds, is also the most social species of rhino. They hang out in groups called crashes. So we'll definitely have to look around, see if there's more of that rhino crash. Also to the left is a mud wallow used by rhinos. They use mud the same way that elephants do, except they don't have trunks. So they just lay down in those puddles of mud, wallow around, and make sure they're protected. Look left to see at least 2 cheetahs, 3 cheetahs on the hill over there. A group of cheetahs is called a coalition, and they are the fastest land animals. They run at 60 miles per hour. Only takes them 3 seconds to reach that phenomenal speed, too. Keep moving up. There's some more cheetahs moving down this hill over here, too. And they use those long tails like rudders to help direct themselves on where they want to go while moving at top speeds. And unlike most large cats, cheetahs are not nocturnal. So that does mean they do their hunting during the day. There's 2 over here on the right side. I recommend checking out the Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom on Disney Plus if you want to learn a bit about those cheetahs. There's actually some fun stuff to know about them and exactly who they are and all that they got going on. Of course, there's a ton of really cool stuff to know about all the awesome animals at this reserve, but I'm a big fan of the cheetahs after watching that show. Now, on the left side, you'll see a pretty familiar rock formation, Colby rocks. These rocks are similar to the rocks that we see in one of my favorite Disney movies, The Lion King. Look here at the edge of the rocks. There's the male lion. Now, lions are no exception to the rule about big cats. They're nocturnal animals. They spend 16 to 20 hours sleeping or resting. They're also the most social of the big cats, hanging out in groups called prides. Usually with one dominant male. That's not to say it's the only male. You need quite a few females. Here's the rest of that white rhino crash on the right side, too. And the female's just behind the male there. Looks like she's just resting right now. She's not sleeping. But whenever the sun sets, it's the female lions that leave the den to do the hunting, while the males are the ones that stay back to protect the den and their cubs. Definitely keep an ear out. Also, if you might have thought you heard this earlier today, you definitely did. That female lion was vocalizing so loud. They do vocalize throughout the morning. You can hear them throughout Africa. I really recommend going down the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. That trail actually goes into this reserve. So, you can hear them very clearly if they do start to vocalize. And they only really do it this time of day. So keep an ear out. Maybe look up the sound of a lion's roar if you've never heard one before. They often get dubbed over by tiger roars in movies. They're not nearly as long-winded as tiger roars. More like short, powerful chunks. Let's see. We'll go up here and get a better view of those ostriches. They'll be on the right side, along with one of those white rhinos. Also walking around right over there. Now the ostrich, along with being the largest bird in the world, is also one of the fastest 2-legged animals. They can actually run 40 miles per hour. And while doing so, they can cover at least 10 feet in a single stride. It's crazy. Every time I say that, I don't get the oohs and ahs I expect, but it's crazy. 10 feet in a single stride. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate it. They also use their wings to direct themselves while moving at top speed. So it's very impressive. They're very quick animals. And if you look to the right, after you pass the tree, to the right of the dirt road is a nest of ostrich eggs. You can see the sheer size of them. It only really makes sense that the largest bird in the world would produce the largest eggs in the world. One ostrich egg weighs as much as 2 dozen chicken eggs. And a full-grown adult human could stand on one and it would not break. Such a large egg is going to be really, really durable. Let's see here. Unfortunately, my friends, we are reaching the tail end of the safari. I'm just going to make a quick loop by the Warden's Post before we can get back to the unload docks. Now, the great news is the Warden's Post has been taken over by Nigerian dwarf goats. They do manage the place now, and in my opinion, they are on top of things. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Now, Nigerian dwarf goats are exceptionally social, sweet animals. They spend a lot of time eating, sleeping, and playing. And whenever I say that they like to eat, man, I mean they like to eat. Something called ruminants. So that means they've got 4 chambers in their stomach. That allows them to eat just about anything and everything. And that does include the stuff other animals don't want to eat, like poison ivy. And some good news for anybody that is as big of a fan of the Nigerian dwarf goats as I am. If you hop on the Wildlife Express, ride the train over to Rafiki's Planet Watch, you can get up close and personal with Nigerian dwarf goats and other domesticated animals in their affection section. That is the only place in life that you can touch animals, so I recommend you check it out. Let's see here. We talked about some really important stuff today. Recycling old electronics helps cut down on that coltan mining and foresting environments throughout Africa. Helps those animals and the environment too. Make sure sure to buy some sustainable products like bamboo. Anything made out of bamboo is probably better for the environment, like I said, than anything else. It's an invasive species of plant, grows quick too. Avoid single-use plastics. Try and find some keystone plants you can plant in your area whenever you get home. Set out a bird bath, bird feeder, bird house, any of that. It really does help. And be sure to check out Disney.com/conservation to see what Disney's doing. Now, the last thing I want to leave you off with is pretty important to me, in my opinion. The Robin Wildlife Reserve, like many other reserves throughout Africa, works to engage people just like you in the importance of conservation of just not these animals, not just the animals, but the environment that they live on. So, if you find yourself at all impacted by how cool everything you just saw out there was, go home, pick up some trash you find on the street, make a little bit of a difference. Now, if you are able to or find the interest